Okay, this is a video that's going to show you how to make, like, you can make 3 to 10% in a day. And so it's using the indicator down here that I created, and I'll talk to you about that in a minute. What this does is shows about 5-day period, and it shows you that this is kind of the low of the 5 days, and if you follow it over here, it acts as a support line for this one day that we're going to investigate here, and it goes from here and it drops down to the low. You can kind of look at other days, sort of like this right here, day, and draw a line here from here to here, and that this price goes down. So, but this isn't a course on resistance lines. This is just like a little video on how to make small trades during the day. So, for instance, on this day, you would. Okay, so we're just gonna concentrate on this day, and granted, it's a great day. So on this day, you'll be able to make a lot more trades than say on an average day. But this is the one I studied, so let's look at that one. So I'm going to zoom in on this day. Just bear in mind, this blue line at the bottom is the big support line from a few days ago. If you don't have the support line, it's okay. We can still use this methodology to do what we want to do. Okay, so the day starts out here, and the price goes up, and then it starts coming down. And you'll see my blue lines here. These are sort of more resistance and support lines. And I'm probably going to have to zoom in a little bit more so you can see them. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So basically what I'm doing is, this is a down trend line, and so what we want to do is, on a downtrend line, we're going to do shorting. And the reason is, if you look at this on a downtrend, it's basically like a little sine wave, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. See, that's a little sine wave, and you get that. You can see this because we're looking at the 1 minute period time frame. It wouldn't look like this if you were looking at a 5-minute time frame or 15-minute time frame. So this methodology is, you have to look at the 1 minute time frame, otherwise it won't work. And so basically, if you look at the up, see how the up compared to the down, up compared to the down. The up is a fast up, and the down is a slow down. Up, fast, slow down. In this case, it's a slow up, fast down. But in general, and this might be because it's the beginning of the day too. But on at any rate, so your enter point is right here, and you got 1721, and it goes down to, so that's a 40-cent drop. So if you entered here, you could get 40 cents per share, and it's a 16 cents stock. So that's holy cow, that's like a lot of money right there. That's like point. Well, let me get my calculator. You can see what it is. 0.4 divided by, it's $16 per share, equals that, and then times 100, 2.5%. So on the first trade itself, you can make 2.5%. I hope I didn't close that. Anyways, so you'd enter here, and you'd exit there. Then, if you want, you could try to enter here and exit there if you want. But this is the minute time frame, and I don't think I'm fast enough. So, but what you could do is, if you look at the pattern here, you could say, here's going to be my entry value because of this support line. So notice here is the valley. The valley here becomes the peak of the next one. Same thing this. The valley here becomes the peak of that one. The valley here becomes the peak of that one. Does that make sense? So you can even, that's just standard resistance support line theory. That's nothing new but what I want to do is look at something new. I think I found something new. So what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in even more so you can see how to use my indicators. Okay, so this dashed line is the start of the day. And at the start of the day, notice it's just kind of white and gray bars. What that means, there's not really big volume happening. And as a result, since there's not much volume, people aren't buying or selling, the price of stock, hey, it's not in demand. There's not any volume, so it's going to come down. And it starts coming down, and finally somebody says, hey, these blue bars happen. In other words, I want to buy some stock because the price is low. So there's two blue bars in a row, 3 light blues. So you're saying, oh man, that's quite a bit. So there's going to be a big up movement. So, for example, this is 17, and that's a 20 cents movement. So that's like a 1.2% movement up. So let's look at how my bars can tell you what that means. So I have to describe these little notes here. Low trigger, high trigger. There's an up red arrow and there's down green arrows. I added those. Those aren't part of my standard indicator. I added those so you could understand what I'm doing. And then I have text down here called low, red, green, peak, green, red. So what happens is if you have a blue bar, and whenever you have a blue bar and a blue and red, that means low trigger. If you have a blue and green, that's a high trigger. So if you look at my indicators here, it says low and there's a blue red. Here's a low and it's a blue red. Here it says high and it's a blue green. Okay? It's as simple as that. Every one of those blue bars means something. Okay. So that low trigger means is saying, hey, pretty soon where people are going to buy, and pretty soon the price, it's going to be a low, and so you have to wait before you actually enter. The enter price is going to be when these histogram goes from red to green. So that's why I had this low red to green. When it goes from red to green, that's your enter point where you're going to enter the trade. Right there. But we don't want to enter at a low. Remember this is a downtrend, we want to do short. So you want to enter when it's a high. So here's the high trigger that says, hey, get ready to enter for a high movement. So here in this case it's a green and then a red. And so that's why it says down here, peak, green to red. So when the red occurs, that's your enter point. So first you have to have this high trigger, and then you have to go the enter arrow. This is the enter arrow. It's a green enter arrow. It's going to be high. So right there is going to be high. Now, in reality, by the time you actually enter the price into to your broker, into your online stock program, you'll probably get it on this bar, anywhere in that bar there. And then the price is going to go down to down to down to down. And now you get a low trigger. And you gotta say, all right, I gotta watch out from enter point. As soon as this thing goes from red to green, boom, it turned to green. So here's my enter red arrow. So right there is when I'm like, that's my sign. And so the next bar is about the time it takes you about a minute to get your order in. So you go boom, and you enter in. So now you just made your first trade from here to here. Now, after that, you can kind of guess how high it's going to go because it's going to hit this resistance line up here. Well, you notice that I've drawn this green line down, and that's because it corresponds to this bar right here. That's the high. Um, so you could get in here, and it goes down to down to down to down to down to down to down. You get your low trigger, and it goes from red to green. So now here's your green enter. And you could enter here if you want. There's also a sign to exit the above one. So you could enter here and exit, and then you could turn around for fast enough. Enter and exit here, and it just goes on and on and on. So these are little jumps ups and jumps down, jumps ups and jumps down. Little, I say little because we've seen it's somewhere between 2.5% and 1.25% gain. That's actually not too. That's not too little. If I can get a 0.5% gain on one trade a day in my normal strategy, I'm like, yay! So let's look at this a little bit more. There's some cases where you can get some huge gains. And I want to show you those. Yeah. All right. So for example, you notice down here you got 3 blue bars in a row that are on red. Low trigger, low trigger, low triggers, 3 in a row. And so that means there's going to be a huge down movement. That's relatively speaking. So remember on this one we're going to enter high, and then we're going to do short. Here's our enter arrow. We enter there. Maybe this next bar really. And then we get a low trigger, but we're waiting for it to go from red to green, right? So we're waiting for it to go from red to green, and it's red, 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 red. Oh, we got another blue bar on a red, so that means it's really going to go down. Red, 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 green. This is our exit trigger, and time we exit, it's going to. Here's where the exit is. The exit indicator, the red arrow. Time we enter the stuff in the stock broker, it's down here. And we probably don't. Yeah, so there to there. So we got 39 to 60. So that's like a 24 cent or 20 cent type thing. That's over 1% too. So that's one thing. If you have several blue bars on the red indicators, it also works opposite if you have several blue bars on several green indicators in a row. Next thing I want to talk to you about is flat tops. That's a flat top. It just means like a flat top haircut. The price isn't going up down; it's sort of steady. And what causes that? Well, the YouTube video people says that the movers and the shakers, they have a lot of money into the stock already, and they want to sell it off slowly. If they did a whole bunch at once, what would happen is the price of the stock would change. So they don't want it to change a lot. They like this price down here, and they want to sell off slowly. So it's called a flat top. And what you'll notice down here is you have a 1, 2, 3 blue bars. It means there's some volume going on, but the price hasn't been changing. So what happens is that the price isn't changing very much. You know, it says the high trigger thing, but you notice I don't have any red. The price hasn't changed much. So it's like, even though you have blue bars, lots of volume, the price isn't changing. So that's a sign that there's going to be a flat top. So this is a sign that you should probably get out of it. You're not going to take a huge loss because it's flat. It's flat. You're just not going to gain a lot of money, anything. But usually what happens is when you have a flat top, the good news is that eventually the price is going to change a lot. And so if we look, it's changed quite a lot. trying to get so we can see it. There we go. And in this case, you see that, remember that the bottom support blue line that came from a couple days previous that I was talking about at the beginning of the video? It's the price movement to that. There, it looks bigger now. So the flat top's up here, and we have a bunch of blue bars happening, but the prices stayed the same. So what is going on? And well, remember here what I told you we had the flat top occurred because the big guys were getting rid of their stocks. So they got rid of their stocks, and they get rid of their stocks slowly with blue bar, blue bar, blue bar, and or they're buying it, either buying slowly or selling slowly. And so what's going to be kind of the clue? Well, we had a low trigger here, and then this was our false high trigger because the price hasn't raised very much. Then another low trigger, and so we've had volume happening, but we've had several of these low triggers. We had this one on a black histogram, but we've had volume. So we've had a lot of low triggers, which is a clue that the price is going to go down some more. And we also have the big one down here, the big support line. So what we want to do is make sure we enter here to do somewhere over here to get into a big long movement. So if we had entered here, the low trigger, and we waited for, boom, entered here for to try to do a short, and we kept it, it would have been okay because we could come down. But like, let's say we entered here and we're trying to get a short, but actually this was a low, like it was going to go back up. So we were thinking it was going to go back up, but it didn't go back up. It stayed a flat top. We could either exit out and get out, but then we'd say, oh, we'd recognize by this time it's a flat top. So that means, oh, we got all these things coming up to the flat top, it's going to go down. We could enter back in. Or if we're here and it's a low trigger and we were expecting it to go up and it didn't go up, we would kind of already have a clue that, you know what, I think it might be a flat top. So we kind of wait and be patient, and then another next low trigger comes again. This is like a confirmation. So when this thing comes in, we could either exit the trade because we thought it was going to go up and did, or we could just stay in it because we kind of figure it's a flat top and it's going to go down. At any rate, the price goes from here, the flat top, which is 1637, down to 66. So that's like 34 plus. That's like a 70 cents. So you get the calculator out. 0.7 divided by 16 equals times 100. That you just made 4%. Isn't that cool? So we've looked at a 4%, we've looked at a 2.5%, we've looked at a 1.25%, and some other ones that were probably a little bit smaller than 1%. And it's only, what time in the morning is it? I live in the West Coast, so it's 9 o'clock in the West Coast, which is in stock trading time. It's only been 3 hours. The rest of the day is still there. So we've looked at a couple different ways that you can make money really quickly on this day trading stuff. We zoom back out again. We can see the bigger picture a little bit better. When to spot for any day. The big movements, okay? Well, first of all, let's go ahead and review. The day starts out here, and there aren't any blue bars down here. And all of a sudden the blue bars show up, and there's a bunch of blue bars in a row. That's kind of a signal that there's going to be a big movement. Plus, it's at the beginning of the day, that's when the big movements happen. So this is how you can get in and out on the beginning of the day. You wait for these blue bars and it gets in and out. So that's the first big movement. The second big movement is when you have the 3 blue bars, and they're all under the histogram red bars. So it's not, blue bars occurring all the time, but when you have, in this case, 3 blue bars all on top of these red histograms, that's a big sign there's going to be a big movement. So that's where you catch this one here. And then the second one is the flat. Third way to get big movement is big money is by the flat top signals, and it goes way down. Then once you hit the bottom, it starts going back up again. And I don't know if you can see it down here. I'll zoom in a little bit on the up. Yeah. Notice down here you have another scenario where you have a blue and a blue bar green, and a blue bar black. Black is sort of neutral. So you've got 2 or 3 blue bars on top of the green and neutral in a row. So here's your chance to make another big movement, another 3%, and that's a big movement. There's another flat top in here. There it is. See that flat top? Flat. And so the key here is to making money on the flat top is to figure out, one, recognize it's a flat top, the price isn't changing. That's one way to recognize it. Second way is, notice down here it's green, high trigger, high trigger, high trigger. So when you got a bunch of green high triggers in a row without any low triggers, then you know that's a flat top. Another indicator that's a flat top. In other words, the price isn't changing, but you have high triggers, high triggers, high triggers. In other words, the volume is being added to it, but it's a flat change. And so this is, again, the movers and shakers are at work, and they're putting money in or taking money out, which would make the price go up or down, right? And in this case, it's going up. And what's the clue? It says high trigger, high trigger, high trigger. It's going to go up. And so where's your enter? You could enter any time in here. Once you recognize it's a flat top, high trigger, but this is a light blue bar, which isn't as high volume. And then you got another high trigger coming in. You have 3 high triggers and the price is steady. That's a really good clue that's going to happen. Another place to enter, if you don't want to type your money until you get another confirmation, finally you get your first low trigger here, right? So that's when this low trigger happens. You want to get in on this part. You can get in. This is your last chance to get in. So you got your low trigger, and then your first, it goes from red to green. Right there, where I drew this bar, is your chance to get in. So you probably want to get in till this. Actually, by the time you enter your stock into your broker, online broker, you got in here. And 16.7 to. So there you made about 17 cents. So you made about 1% if you would have waited to here. You probably could have made about 2% if you would have got there. Let's see. It takes a big dip here. I didn't finish the analysis out here, and so I can't really tell you what's going on. But we have, ignoring my little text notes here, we got 2 blue bars on top of 2 red bars, and that's a sign that there's going to be big downward movement. And so if you took this as a this is like you're getting in low. In other words, it would be sorry, that's your low trigger, but then you get a second low trigger in a row. Well, shoot, that it did catch the low, but that big movement, you've missed it already. So we'd have to look back at this other one, and oh, that's the one that. This is your two red triggers and are right there. I'm sorry. So this is a sign that it's going to be a big movement. And then over here, sorry, I'm struggling a little bit. Right there, duplicate it. So you got red, red, red. You got three bars, all low triggers in a row. There's no high trigger in there. It's going to be a big movement. The money's going in, money's going in, money's going in. There isn't any high movement going on. So this is your chance to get in for the big movement. So you've entered here, and boom. Now you can exit. All right, end of the video.